Shh.
Okay, so Buju, Wabshka, Sinikwe, Indigenous, Saginaw, and Donjaba, Bawating, Nida, De, Enjabam, Kok, Mackinac, Minising, Mishike, and Dodem, Ojibwe, Anishinaabe, Kwayandao. Good afternoon. My name is Colleen Medicine, and I work in our Language and Cultural Department, and I'll be your moderator today for our first ever Sioux Tribe Language and Cultural Anishinaabemowin virtual video conferencing lesson. So we are really excited about that. And as a means of housekeeping, if everyone could just mute their selves when you're listening to the lesson so we don't have any feedback. And I ask that if you could just keep questions until the end of the lesson. So with that being said, I'm going to let our instructors for the day introduce themselves before we get started. So I'll turn it over to Susan.
Ani Kinwea, Susan Indigenous, Bouting and Dode, Bounting and Donjaba, I mean, Maingen and Dodem. That is to say that I am from the Sioux. I kind of feel myself a little bit of an ingrown toenail because I've almost always been in the Sioux, even though I was born here. And in Maingen, wolf is my Dodem. Meanwhile, Shirley, Quinton.
Ani, Shirley Recollet, Anishinaabemowin, Wikwam Kong Donjaba, Bakting, Tada, Sioux Tribe, Anishinabem Tage, Napi, Washkesh, Dode. Kibisque, Anishinabemowin. I'm Shirley Recollet. I'm from Wacomakong, Manitoulin Island. I live in Sioux, Ontario, and I say the language, Anishinaabemowin, to Sioux Tribe once in a while. And my clan is Wawashkesh, deer. Miigwech. Cecil? I'll be Cecil.
Yeah, Cecil's missing. Our other instructor is Mr. Cecil E. Pavlat Sr. So once he joins us back, he'll be able to introduce himself.
Actually, I was talking. I forgot to unmute my microphone.
Oh.
So, once again, Minoa, Cecil Pavlat Indigenous, Gigdon Wasa Nin, Ojibwe Minoa Jagana Shien Dao, Aji Jokando Dem, Baoting and Donjaba. Anin Kiniguea. Hello, everyone. I'm Cecil Pavlat. I'm Crane Clan from Sault Ste. Marie, and it's good to be here. Much start off.
Okay, so now that each one of our instructors has introduced themselves, we'll be moving through the lesson with a PowerPoint, so you won't see our faces again until the end of the lesson. You'll just hear our voices as we navigate through the lesson here. So please just remember to keep your mics muted and save any questions you have until the end of the lesson. Again, and so our instructors are Susan Askwith, and I just wanted to say that we're missing one of our Sioux Tribe instructors, Paul Blondo, and so I'm standing in for him today, but normally we would have a fourth instructor, Paul, and not me. And then I just ask, and Shirley Recollet and Cecil Pavlat. So those are the four instructors you'll hear from today. And then I just ask for understanding and patience as we navigate through. This is our very first time doing our video conferencing lesson. So we just ask for your understanding and patience as we move forward. And with that, we will begin.
Nahau, Kinawea. The word that we're dealing with this session is Bakade. And you can see it on your screen, Bakade. It's all one word, but we separated it so you can pronounce it more easily. For those that haven't been familiar with the phonetics that we use, the A's sound like and the E sounds like eh. So Bakade is the word. And what does it mean? It means that he or she is hungry. And although it's just one word, it has that whole sentence meaning. Bakade, he is hungry. Bakade, she is hungry. So that's how you say the word. Notice that there's a little emphasis on the bakade. And one of the things you might want to know is that you can later on replace that he or she with someone's name. But just as it is, it says he or she is hungry. And at this point, I think it's helpful to bring up strategies that you could use to remember the word bakade. Because if you were like me, by the end of the afternoon, I might have already forgotten the word bakade. So how do I stick it in my brain? And one of the ways is to hear it. So you're hearing me say it now, bakade, and you'll hear Shirley and Colleen and Cecil say it too. So you hear it. Now you'll see it on the screen, bakade. And when the other instructors come up, you'll see that word again, bakade. Next is you should say it to yourself. And so if each of you at home, when you hear it, any of the words that we're teaching at any time, repeat them back, say them, so that helps it to stick in your mind. Then the next way to do it is to act it out. And you can, any way that you have, you don't really need to have a particular meaning behind anything. You can just stick your right hand up in the air, and that would be your sign for bakade. Anything you want that would be helpful, and that's a motion. So you hear it, you see it, you say it, you act it out. And then another idea that is useful to all language learners of any language is for you to think of something, some connector that is silly or ridiculous. So I have 3 different examples. Bakade sounds perhaps to you like our English word bucket. So like a lunch bucket. And that would be a sign to you perhaps that someone is hungry, that they need that lunch bucket. Or you could use a sound, bucket, 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 anything ridiculous and funny. Or you could have a rhythm. Bakade hungry, bakade hungry, bakade hungry, 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 bakade hungry, that kind of thing. And if you have the luxury of being where no one is listening to you, you could do that. Or you could just do it in your mind. So the word is bakade. It means he or she is hungry. Now, Colleen is next. Colleen will help us to extend that word, bakade. So go for it, Colleen.
All right, Ani again. So now we're going to introduce some pronouns and add on to Bakade. So we'll start with the letter N, and N is short for the word neen in Anishinaabemowin, which means I in English. So when we say neen, we're talking about ourselves. And so if we add that on to Bakade, the word becomes Bakade. I am hungry. And the N is pretty, it's almost silent, and it kind of has like a little nasally sound. So you're not really pronouncing it as N like we would normally think in English. It's really quick. So bakade, I am hungry. And similarly, if we add a G, that's short for geen in Anishinaabemowin, which means you in English. And so when we add the G on, the word becomes gabakade. You are hungry. And then if we're talking about introducing they are hungry, the word is wug. W-A-G. And it's how we say they in Anishinaabemowin. And if we add it on to Bakade, the word becomes Bakadewag. They are hungry. So by adding pronouns, we can say Bakade, I am hungry. We can say Gabakade, you are hungry. Or we can say Bakadewag, we are hungry. They are hungry. Excuse me, they are hungry. So we've started with Bakade. We've added the pronouns. And now we're going to turn it over to Shirley, and she's going to continue adding on to this lesson.
Now it's like a question, asking a question. In Bakade, like hungry, Bakade na. Is she hungry? Bakade na. Is she or he hungry? And if you ask Bakade na Dave, is Dave hungry? Bakade na Dave, is Dave hungry? Bakade na, are you hungry? Kabakade na, are you hungry? So that G, kabakade na, is like, are you hungry? Bakadeok na, bakadeok na, are they hungry? So that NA and NNA sounds different but mean different things. So we're using NA like bakade na, are you hungry? Midas kabakade na, you are hungry. No, kabakade na, you are hungry. Answer would be yes, nabakade, I am hungry. So the question would be kabakade na, you are hungry, is that right? Answer yes. Mina mbakade, yes, I'm hungry. So those are just a little sentences speak when you ask somebody if they're hungry, and they would respond nambakade, I am hungry. Now, Mishmina Cecil will do the next part.
Cecil, unmute yourself.
Once again, I forget to unmute myself. Anishinaabemowin, we're introducing the negation or negative of Bakade now. Also, you'll see different letters and how they sound. We use the Fierro system, which is considered a double vowel system. So in that word Gawin, we see the double A. And so that's pronounced ah. And actually it should also be W-I-I-N, which would be the double I, and that would be pronounced as E. So Gawin. Also, when you say Gawin, you need to add the C afterwards. It just always is, and just the way it is. So again, the double I, E. Gawin and C. So the first sentence, Gawin Bakade C. He or she is not hungry. Gawin Bakade C. Gawin and Bakade C. I am not hungry. Gawin Dave Bakade C. Gawin Dave Bakade C. Dave is not hungry. Gawin Bakade C. Wook. Gawin Bakade C. Wook. They are not hungry. And so as we introduce these different ideas in our language, we'll build upon the word, build upon the sentences, and hopefully move at a pace everyone can follow. Naha miigwech misoe.
Okay, now that concludes the actual lesson. We just want to say miigwech bezindamak. Thank you for listening. And at this time, if anyone has any questions to ask, we can move ahead with questions regarding the lesson. So we'll just wait a moment and see if anyone has any questions. But again, we just want to say miigwech for listening and showing up and hearing our beautiful Anishinaabemowin language.
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, so going back to this last slide we had going, so the negative, right? She is not hungry, I am not hungry. Is there how would you construct the sentence for you are not hungry? Then does it have the G, just like I am not hungry, but you'd have Bakade Z, Gawin Bakade Z?
Perfect. That's great.
Okay.
Yes, you would introduce that G in front of the Bakade. Gawin Bakade Si.
Okay. And then I noticed in the last one where they took the prefix, the wog, and put it at the end, and is there any, like, why does that happen? Why isn't it kept the same as when you say you or I?
With all the instructor that I've had over the years, we always have been taught that there are certain things that are the way they are. And without a whole lot of explanation, our language is very, very complicated and nothing is like etched in stone. And so a lot of the instructors that I've had have kind of just said it is because it is. And
Okay.
without a great explanation. And so in that situation, the C sticks with the Bakade, and then the ending, which can be they or them over there, different ways, would then follow. So Gawin Bakade Si Wook. That's just the way it is, and that's the way I've been taught.
Okay.
Anyone else? Any questions?
Is that you, Teresa, that was asking that question?
Yes.
I don't know who all the other participants are, but Teresa had said before that she was learning how to conjugate the verbs or the action words, and so that's why she's asking that. Teresa, you'll notice that we didn't include we. We are hungry, and we didn't include you all are hungry. So we didn't have everything in the lesson. So there is more to be said about Bakade, and you'll see that the we and you all and the they, those are the plural things, more than one. They often have that ending at pretty much always have an ending after the word. So
Okay.
yeah, the things in front are always the singles like I and you and he or she. So yeah, that you'll see that is, but Cecil is so right. Some things that just no darn good answer for it, except that our ancestors figured out how to say things. They figured out a beautiful language, and who knows how they dreamt it up. But this is what we have today, which is a beautiful thing.
Okay.
Just a little note when you're asking, are yous hungry? I'd say, kapakademna, kapakademna. Are yous hungry? Kapakademna.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People
that's the
down
one.
south, yeah. People down south say, you all.
You all hungry?
Yeah, y'all are hungry, right? Yeah.
So is that like a M apostrophe N A or something? How would you spell that?
Cecil.
Mhm. That
Cecil,
Shirley,
muted.
say it again, Shirley.
Bakademna.
Bakademna. So I guess you would put the G in front, G, G, Bakada, and you would add the M to Bakada. Bakademna, making it a question with the na.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, I see your picture, Teresa. Very
Hello.
nice. Ali, Ali.
So just, I don't know that we would do this every time, but I see that someone named Carla has joined us. Maybe you could introduce yourself, Carla.
Unmute yourself.
Maybe not.
Hi.
Oh, there we go.
Carla's on. The screen's not up because Carla's getting dressed. Had to decide which pajama day it is today.
Yeah.
My name is Carla. I live in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. My family is all from Sault Ste. Marie. Like the other stories I heard at the beginning, I too, I was adopted. So my birth mother was born in the Sioux. I was given up for adoption, and thank goodness for the the native child. The lawyers were able to open up my adoption records, so I could get my tribal card and be part of the tribe. So, but my birth mother's mom always told her she had as much native in her as the top of her little pinky. And they moved out of the reservation. They moved out of the reservation when they were young because of the trials and the hardships of being native. So I chose to change my birth records back to the original adoptive records. And I have beautiful parents. I love my mother and father. They're so supportive. But I did change back to my original records. And I do this, and I take on the hardships that my grandparents and my great-parents would have had. I want to continue the legacy on for them and slowly learn the language to teach my granddaughter. And my daughter right now is doing the online classes through Bay Mills. So she's able to get her native classes on there. So that's just a little bit.
Thank you for sharing that, Carla. It's a good story.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's no supportive services in Ohio. There's no one to learn from. We try to get up to the reservation twice a year. It's our little 10-hour drive. But it's worth it. And we're hoping that things are going to clear up so we can make it back up there in July again.
Yeah. So good. You speak for other people too, Carla.
Cecil, is this the correct spelling here? I typed it out. I just wanted to go back to the Gabakadem na.
I would say yes.
I would too.
So just for spelling, Teresa, there, I typed it out here for you.
Miigwech.
Okay. Any other questions? Anything else?
And you know that question, bakademna? The answer would be bakademe.
Bakadem. M.
Bakademe.
M-I at the end, Teresa.
M-I?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It means we. It means we, that M-I.
Okay.
It's stuck to the word though. It's part of the word. Bakademe. Gabakademe.
So that one is saying, are we hungry then? Is that right? Are we hungry?
No, it says, actually it says, we are hungry. We are
Okay.
hungry.
We are. Okay.
All right. So once again, I just want to say miigwech for everyone, to all the instructors who shared our beautiful language and everyone who attended the class. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. And we also welcome any feedback if we can make these classes better in the future. So don't be afraid to message us. And in fact, this recording will be saved and hopefully uploaded to our social media pages so that this lesson can be viewed at a later time. So please do tell your friends and family that missed the lesson that they can always come check it out on our social media pages. We have a Facebook and Instagram, and we also have a Sioux Tribe live stream page where we have archived lessons, over 100 archived lessons, in fact. So please continue to follow us on our social media pages and check out our live stream page. And if I'm not hearing any more questions, I think we can conclude today's lesson on Bakade.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Bama P, and we'll put out an announcement for our next lesson. Hopefully, we'll be able to do another one in the near future. Miigwech.
Miigwech,
Mhm.
Bama
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 P.
Bama P.
Bama P.